Hello YouTube, hope everyone is doing well today. I wanted to put out this video and title it, Is the New World Order Benevolent? And in summary, hell no. But let me go into this deeper on why I'm putting this video out. I started the YouTube experience to learn. I was inspired by people putting their views out on YouTube. I expected to be enlightened by other people's views. I expected also to be criticized. I know there's some kooks out there who will call you foul-mouthed names, and I'm totally okay with that. You just discard all of those people and you take the people that offer you enlightening views and you use that to increase your own knowledge, right? And so it is a good forum for communicating your ideas and learning from others. I do agree the YouTube experience is a good thing. So if you're considering making a video, I encourage you to do so. Just let it be like water off a duck's back for the people that criticize you. But having stated that, in regards to the New World Order, I always previously had thought of putting people into two categories when it came to the New World Order. Either people were not aware of the New World Order, they thought it was some big conspiracy theory. They either thought that they could not get their mind around a conspiracy so vast as to people wanting to control the world and move it towards a one world government. They believed it just simply did not exist. Either you were in that category or you were in the category of you are aware of the New World Order, a push for a one world government, and you are aware of how evil it is. So I always just thought either you were not aware or you were aware and you knew how evil it was. I never even thought about a third category, which are people that agree that that they can no longer dismiss the evidence of a New World Order. They agree that it exists and they think it is a benevolent thing. And that's shocking to me. It's a big eye-opener that there are people in that third category, and I wanted to address that because I reject that. I reject the idea that the New World Order is benevolent with every fiber in my being, and I'd like to share a story by G. Edward Griffin regarding the Great Duck Dinner on that. But in regards to like the New World Order in general and the evidence, just let me go over a few things. You have the Council on Council of Foreign Relations. You have the infringement of our liberties in a gradualism scenario. And a gradualism scenario is, I'm sure you've all heard the story, you probably have, where you put a frog in a pot of boiling water and you turn the heat up slowly and slowly and slowly, and the frog will never jump out of the water because the temperature doesn't rise fast enough for him to notice it. So he'll just literally be boiled alive. And gradualism is how the elite and the people that are pushing for a one world government push their agenda upon us. And they do it slowly and slowly. And so because they don't do a fast movement of the temperature, we never notice, a lot, not we, because I know there are a lot of people who do, especially in the Patriot movement, but the general mass of population do not even notice that anything is changing. But through the efforts of gradualism, they will slowly degrade our liberties. And they slowly disarm us. They've done so in Britain, they've done so in Australia. They will slowly infringe upon our rights. And so as they do that, this use of gradualism allows them to gain more and more control over the mass of the populations. I've already talked about the fact we're moving towards a one world government. I'm sure you may not have heard of the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America, which is another example of them taking away the sovereignty of this country. And anything that establishes sovereignty of the United States as a nation, they are against. And when I say they, I mean members of the New World Order. We already have seen the establishment of the euro in Europe. My understanding that the majority of people in Europe did not want the euro, but it did not stop them from passing it anyway. And you may say, well, the majority of people in the United States are going to fight or want to keep their Second Amendment rights. Well, just because the majority of people want to keep their Second Amendment rights, these people do things anyway, even though it goes against the wishes of the majority of the people. I don't want to get, many of you already know the difference between a democracy and a republic. A republic respects the right of the individual. That's what the Bill of Rights are all about, is respecting the rights of the individual and respecting that we have inalienable rights given to us by our Creator. The AMERO, the National Civilian Defense Force, and let me just quickly mention that. I know when the National Civilian Defense Force initially came out, the wording in the bill said mandatory, and then they changed it to voluntary. And imagine you're in like a Walmart. I'm just going to give you an example. Imagine you're in a Walmart with your 18-year-old son or daughter, right? And then you're surrounded by people in black suits. They're very well armed. They got helmets, and they're going to say, "We're going to take your daughter and take your son to a National Civilian Defense Force camp." And you're like, "What the hell? No, you're not." And then like somebody comes up and says, they whispers to all the people, right, that have surrounded you. And they say, "Okay, well, we're not going to do it, but it's just going to be voluntary. But we encourage you to do it. We encourage it to be mandatory." And then they walk away from you. And now some of us are going to raise holy hell and say, "What the hell just happened?" These people actually thought they could, for a second, put our sons and daughters in mandatory camps, in service camps. And then at the last minute, they changed it to voluntary, but they said encouraged to be mandatory. And now there's some of us among us say, "Well, what's the big deal? It's voluntary now. Why do you think it's such a big deal?" In my opinion, it's such a big deal. We need to be screaming up and down. The fact that anybody in government thought that they had that ability or that right to force mandatory service, even if they change it to voluntary wording now, it's a huge deal that they even thought they could have. That should be something we're very excited about. Okay, the bailouts. I'm just going to evidence of. There's lots of evidence for the New World Order. There's lots of books on it. I would suggest that you read about it. All these bailouts are bailing out the incompetent buffoons who have ran the financial industries into the ground. And so it's crazy that they're using taxpayer dollars to bail out Wall Street and these fat cats and these people who take vacations, instead of using it to help the common, average, everyday hard worker on Main Street as opposed to Wall Street. We know they're pushing for a one world currency. I could go into the Trilateral Commission, and I could go into the North American Union. So I've given various examples for a new world order there, and a lot of people no longer can reject the fact that the new world order is a reality, that we are being pushed towards a one world government. But what's shocking to me is when they realize, and they no longer dismiss the evidence that it is the case. They say, "Well, these people are benevolent. They just actually want good things, and what's wrong with a one world government?" There is a huge problem with that, and let me share a story of what I think about that. It's called the Great Duck Dinner. Okay, it comes from G. Edward Griffin, but it's a story of, let's call it ducks. And the ducks love to feed in a pond. Okay, and this was every summer every winter the ducks would migrate south. Okay, the ducks would fly away from the pond, and every summer they would come back to live in the pond and to feed around the pond. Now the farmer loved the fact that the ducks came back in the summer, because he could shoot them and have duck dinner. But he wanted them to stay all year round. So what the farmer did is he would put feed all around the pond, right? And he would feed the ducks, and he even built them a little house with a warming facility to keep them warm in the winter. So eventually the ducks did not go south for the winter. They just stayed on the pond, and they lost their sovereignty. They lost the ability to be free and to control their own destiny, and eventually they just became pets of the farmer. And the farmer all winter long would have duck dinner, and that's what's happening to the masses of the population. These people are evil. I'm sure there was some ducks in the crowd that said, "This farmer's the greatest guy in the world. He's giving us food. He gives us a nice warm place to stay in the winter. Why are you guys always talking bad about the farmer? The farmer is eating the ducks. He wants to have duck dinner." That's what these people in the New World Order are doing to the masses of the population. They don't have benevolent thoughts about the masses of the population. They use us to feed their financial system. Just like, you get up and you work and you pay taxes and you feed their system, and they become more and more powerful. They don't want a revolt or any kind of revolution. They don't want the masses of the people rising up. They just want to feed us and create warm spots, for us, but they want to take our freedoms away. Do you understand what's going on? These people are not our friends. And for those of you who think the New World Order is a benevolent group of elitists that just want to do good things for the masses of the population, I reject that with every fiber in my being, and I think you are completely wrong. And if you want to stay for duck dinner in the wintertime, you do that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fall into that trap. God bless you all, and thank you for your time.